The players are ready for, and why not when you've got some of the most exciting Indigenous talent and a few others as well sprinkled in out on display here. So the Bulldogs and the Cats all in position at the present time, ready to get started. As we just await now for the main man in the middle to get things underway for us. An absolute stalwart that he is as well. So we're off and running. And the big tap down. Almost a stalemate on that occasion there, but I think the Bulldogs should be able to get possession here. Do for the time being. That was cut off though, and it was Dudley Dick that time, so the Cats actually had possession initially, but the great Dudley Dick got in the way. But his possession though was turned over after just the one in the chain. So the Cats get another look in, and they're able to lock that ball away, but unfortunately free kick given away. Clinton Shaw, the man on the mark there, so tasked with having to make amends, and he did just that with that little bit of a smother off Antonio Surprise. So the Cats get back into possession once again. Inside 50 they go. It's a shallow entry, and it's tailor-made for the Bulldogs to be able to clear away once more. Out to that man, Surprise again, and has he got a fair few surprises in his bag of tricks? Unfortunately, surprised himself that time and didn't control the football. Loses it out on the Forest Road wing. He might have support here through Mackie, but he's got a fair few Cats to beat. They pounce on him. This is a great Cats and Dogs battle already. The age-old rivalry in human life, isn't it? Cats and Dogs. At least it's not raining today. And the ball goes out of bounds in Kajina's forward 50. Once again, another shallow entry. Louisville's Amy here with you. Apologies again for the delay, but like I said, we run on the players' time out here at Fitzroy Crossing in the Kimberleys. So no stress at all. We still, patience is a virtue out this way because it is thoroughly rewarded with the football that we have on display. So thank you very much for waiting along. Our fourth match here out of 5 for the day. Still no score for either side yet. But the Bulldogs looking to try and build something up here. Long kick forward off the boot there of one of the many dicks in the side there. Hezekiah Dick on that occasion to 31. Got it to right half forward, but it got turned back over. The Cats can't quite keep possession though. Falling over, but still getting the hands free. In towards Ariel Thurkel, who got it off the ground and then mopped it up himself, and then he did a bit of a barrel roll as he tried to handball it back to a teammate. Unfortunately, Quinas Wallaby couldn't keep it alive, and we'll get the ball thrown back in yet again. Still no score for either side yet. Tap over the top there from Dudley Dick. Almost like third man up. Action of the old days, but he certainly was the nominated ruck. He only got as far, though, as Unfernie Bilgen for the Cats, who didn't get too much penetration on the disposal, but they get a free kick anyway. Ball comes back in. That may very well have been, once again, the man in the 18, Thurkel, who gets that one inside 50. Shot on goal coming along. And it's missed to the left for just the one behind to Kajina. We travel nearly 8 minutes into this opening term. That is the first score for either side. So a mad scramble here and around 50 for the Cats, who are desperate to try and get a repeat look at the goals here. The Bulldogs defence having to work overtime. Surprise involved. Now just sitting back and watching the rest of the action. Mackie was in there too for the Bulldogs, but now the Cats will pick out a free kick here. And I've got a feeling it's Bilden again. He's been pretty busy early on. Has he got an option free? No, it's a bit closer to the man on the mark than that. So I think it was young Heron Laurel who had made himself quite a fair bit of space in that forward line for Kajina, but the ball couldn't reach him in time, and then eventually it won't matter because the Cats do get a free. Ultimately. I got a feeling this is Shaw that's got it. So a delayed 7-point play here for Kajina. Potentially, they've got it. No surprise given the delayed start of the game. Now up past schedule. But in any case, the reward for effort comes for Kajina. 1-1-7-0 score. And we're on the cusp of quarter time here. 9.5 gone. Dare say it'll be like last week. We had the 4 10-minute quarters. Now Surprise gets the clearance from a good tap down towards him, which was by Zeth Shanley, one of the many Shanleys in this Bulldogs lineup. The proud family represented in local football here in the Central Kimberleys. They got it to the centre-half forward, but the Virginia Cats, though, they're in absolute number, and this man has been very, very busy along the club room wing, the number 18 in Thurkel. Gets it again. And then a shallow kick in the centre-half forward over the top. It's marked away. So the Dogs able to repel once again. And they're missed by Shanley, but he's got the support out the back. That's one of the big fellows, one of the tall timbers up forward who has now come up to help out there. I think it was big Lamarty who gets inside 50. There's Ted Cramble, one of the more exciting players, especially saw a fair bit of his good work, although he was wearing a River Rouge jumper on that occasion in the pre-season carnival. Unable to do much with that effort, though, as it comes back out towards centre wing again. Once more, that Thurkel for Kajina getting busy, but he had 3 to beat that time, couldn't beat them all. So another throw in. It looks like we are actually going beyond the 10 minutes here, despite the delayed start. So that's all right. We don't mind overtime here in the Central Kimberleys. Just means we get to enjoy more and more footy action and more camaraderie all around the grounds. Of course, the Classic Clashes scoreboard with the big screen showing the AFL action at Optus Stadium, North Melbourne home game. See if they can be a lot more competitive than what they were against Fremantle in Bunbury last week, although they are 18 points down as we speak. It's the West Coast Eagles in the second term. Compared to 124, that's like a one-point thriller, really, as the ball finds its way back over the line again, but not before a free kick gets picked out to Zet Shanley for the Bulldogs. Gets it towards right half forward. Tries to follow up that kick as well. He was Usain Bolt-like or Gout-like in terms of trying to follow up where that ball landed. Almost able to trap it, but couldn't quite. Now it's a bit of a scrap in and amongst a few Cats and Dogs here. Anthony Munda for the Cats. Couldn't trap it. Neither could Nicholas Quiller, the 11 and the 4 respectively. But eventually they do get a clearing kick away, but not before there's a whistle on play, which will bring the ball back, much to the chagrin there of Erwin Laurel, who has threatened a little bit so far, but yet to be involved in the score chain. We do have a score of 1-1 for Kajina. We haven't got the graphic updated yet. Bulldogs yet to score, so we'll try and get our man Chris Tate on the ground there to update the graphic for you to make it 1-1-7 for Kajina, who will threaten to go and extend that once again here inside the 50. But good work from the defence for the Bulldogs. Only for the moment, though, because pickpocketing it out nicely was Bronson Wongawool. And the centering pass was sublime also. And they'll get the shot on goal to extend this margin out to 13 points and keep a clean sheet the other way. I think it's Bernardo Laurel now, the number 2, who will have the shot. Directly in front, picture perfect. So excellent start for Kajina, or Kajina, however you want to pronounce it, who will look to arrest their huge defeat at the hands of the River Rouge last week and get off the bottom of the table. 2-1-13, Bayulu. No score and only one entry inside 50 so far. So Wanganul, the latest goal there. Flushed it quite nicely too from a fair distance. As we now wait for the ball to return. Will be another free kick to the Cats here. So a lot of confusion. Maybe the goal's going to be overturned here. Hang on a second. So our version of the arc here. Which is far more operable than what the AFL's is. In actual fact, I think it's going to be a secondary shot. I reckon there might have been some mouthing off or something else going on here. So secondary shot, and that one's a far more shallow effort from Wanganul that time. But it might still come out here for the Cats. Is that young Laurel once again at 26? Well, he's not going to have the shot on goal, but he's involved with the assist. I reckon he might have missed that in the end. So still, Kajina looking like a vastly different side compared to what they were last week. 2-2-14 to no score so far. The Bulldogs seriously looking for some answers at the moment, says Shanley, who has been one of their best so far. Done most of the rucking in this quarter. It's up towards centre wing. And that's an awesome mark. Right in the middle of the pack by Jonathan Dick Jr., who showed some good flashes in our call last week against the Wunkajunga Crows, who did get the Bulldogs' number in the end, though. Tightish start early on in that match, but eventually, though, the Crows kicked away before the Bulldogs were able to get a flurry of goals in the last quarter. In fact, both sides combined for 6 goals straight in that final term too, after the Crows were very wayward in front of goal with a scoreboard of 2-6 in the first term, 4-10 at half-time, 5-13 at three-quarter time. So, anyway, that's in the past, as we know, as the ball now living inside 50 for Bayulu. About 25 from goal. So Jonathan Dick Jr. was up in the ruck that time yet again, so he's starting to get more involved in the contest for the Bulldogs, crucially. But the Cats, though, beyond resolute so far. Having all the answers at this stage. And now they bring it away for a rare journey across the Forest Road scoreboard wing. They have been getting a lot of purchase along the clubroom wing so far. But maybe they'll have to just redirect the GPS to go back along that route, because they get stifled here on centre wing on the scoreboard side, but still a very pretty scoreboard read for them. 2-2-14 to no score. What have the Bulldogs got to answer this? They've got a mark inside 50. So a chance just to kill the clock. 7.5 gone. One against the grain. It's low, it's flat, it rolls. I think it's a shallow entry towards the goal line, so just the one behind. And 2-2-14 for Kajina. While we wait for the ball to come back into play, we will take our time to thank all the wonderful sponsors for the CKFBL. Our naming rights sponsor, Lidl Proprietary Limited, along with Mara, Warra Warra, Gandua, and the WA Department of Communities, while Filming Footy is proudly sponsored by Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's Footwear, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, and also Premium Grains. We do apologise for the little sort of static commentary here, just a few gremlins in the system. But we will still do our best to keep on producing the vision and the audio along the way as Dick Jr. bobs up again and takes another good mark. Fast becoming Bayulu's best player so far. Then the bit of a laid-back kick to the goal square. I mean, he was trying to do the unselfish thing. Had a teammate right in the goal, right inside the heart of the goal square. But he got fisted away from him, and then they ended up getting the repeat entry anyway, did the Dogs. But again, no score. And I reckon he would have wanted his time once more, Dick Jr., to go back and have the shot. Certainly way too talented not to be having a shot from 30. And as a result, they'll be made to pay here, you would think, because Kajina now have been able to pretty much go coast to coast. It won't count as a kick-in effort because it wasn't scored the other way. But ultimately, the Bulldogs hold out. So I think that might be the siren gone. Quarter time. Dominant quarter from the Cats, 2-2-14 to 1 behind. We'll take a break and be back with you very shortly. And once again, just apologies for a few technical gremlins on our end. Louisville's only now back on board for the second quarter here. We're about a minute into it. And the Cats once again threaten to go forward and put some more scoreboard pain on the Bulldogs. But to Bayulu's credit, they responded and got back through the guts quite quickly. And now they have the shot on goal. And one of their big targets, Hendrick Smith, has it. Barely 40 out. And the applause from the faithful here at Fitzroy Crossing says, that's through. And there is the first goal back finally for Bayulu within the first couple of minutes of this second term. So good response from them. Smith, the goal kicker, Hendrick, number 33. And they now go to 1-1-7. Kadina 2-2-14. Wasting no time, which is what we like to see from our great umpiring fraternity here at Fitzroy Crossing. Back straight into the middle. Oh, it's a little bit of a double bounce basketball action. NBA final style from Antonio. Surprise. And we told you he's got plenty of surprises in his book. Unfortunately, one of them not goal kicking at this stage. That one's still buried right down to the deep at the bottom of the bag. But just you wait and see what he can come up with once he gets going at 100%. So just the behind there for surprise. A couple of minutes into this second term. 1-2-8 to 2-2-14. And now Kajina will see if they can resurrect control. Oh, not with that sort of a kick, though, from Con Forrest. He knows that. And he got angry and then just charged back to make a second effort at it. This is well done. That's well coached, I'll dare say, as well as Jumbara, his teammate, having a little bit of difficulty breaking through Surprise and co from the Bulldogs' pressure. But I do like what they were able to achieve there with that. Especially from Forrest, who went after it on a couple of occasions. Now Aquinas Wallaby roves it, gathers it, caresses the football, first by hand on the right side and then by foot on the right side too. That's how you protect the football with your life, and the pass was exquisite. And now Kajina will fight on with it and have the shot on goal by the looks of things. So well done, Wallaby. His eyes lit up like it was his birthday, just grabbing that football and then doing everything he could to protect the investment, getting it forward. And now the shot on goal about to be affected for Kajina. Unfortunately, though, not to be. So just to wait for the boundary throw-in to be affected here. Apologies that things are a little bit all over the place. We're still fighting through all the technical gremlins to bring you this action here on Filming Footy. We're dedicated to the cause, and that's what we're going to do. No matter what gets thrown at us, any obstacles in our way, we'll still fight on. 2-2-14 to 1-1-7. Ignore the graphic that's on your screen. It says 6-3-39 to 1-1-7. And again, that's just due to the unfortunate gremlins that are in the system at the moment. A few bugs that we're still trying to iron out. But Kajina, they're not full of bugs because of their nickname, the Cats. They feast on those things. Bugs are a staple item in their diet, and we mean from an actual cat, of course, as we know. The actual, the proper feline. But these young men, they feast on footy. That's what they love. And opportunity here for another goal coming the way of Forrest. That one can definitely be added on. No problem at all. Great link-up work between Clinton Shaw and he. So that's their third goal that we have recorded at the moment. Forrest adds his name to the kickers list. 3-2-20 plays 1-2-8. And we've gone, about just under 6 minutes. I think that the time clock is now right as well. It was actually a continuation of the first quarter. And again, we do apologise for some of the roughness in the technical system that we're ironing out. But we are getting things back on board now. So I'll mention there, 20 plays 8. That's the score that I've got written down. Ignore the 39-7, but we are in agreement there, though, that the Cats are in front. But Surprise will try and make a change to that for the Bulldogs going forward. They just fight and fight and fight, but they can't fight any longer with this passage of play. The Cats back in possession once again. Nicholas Quiller getting involved. The handball away, and then the high kick now switches play out to their favourite side, which is the clubroom side. They seem to link up very nicely along here as opposed to the Forest Road wing. And this looks like to be no exception either, as LeBron Vanby involved. Takes the mark off towards Ian Morrison, and Morrison's kick careful. And it's going to work out here too, because the one-on-one battle, the Cats win that one also. This handball releases the man kicking from 50 as he got the distance. The umpire's happy with that. No touch on the line. Big goal from downtown. I'll celebrate that one for many a night. Oh, that was gorgeous to watch. Gorgeous to call too. Amazing thump. Made it look effortless. I wonder if it was Big Bronson Wonganall there. I think I've got to look at the 6. Have to just double check that, but I reckon that was the man who got it. So we'll give it to him. Why not? I can always correct this later on, of course, as we now have an 18-point advantage for Kajina, reigning premiers. To be fair, few turnover of players from one season to another, just getting reacquainted and readjusted to things, but they're right up against the wall at the moment. They get another inside 50 entry, so at least this quarter they've been able to get a few extra entries, and they're going to cut off the rappel this time, so Irvin Skinner unable to get any true connection on that kick to get away. So the Bulldogs have been able to stifle this one, although they muck up the play-on advantage that they had from that. Could have easily taken a few extra seconds and gone to set shot to the top of the square. Instead, they tried to get a little bit too fancy, and now they've lost possession for the time being. Trevon Smith, one of the culprits there for them. And now Kajina will say thank you very much as the ball comes into the middle. Spending an absolute eternity, Raoul Buck, and I think he might have just fallen a bit sleepy, waiting for that one to drop out of the sky and drop the mark when he had no one within QE of him, and unfortunately now he's coughed it up, but it was actually a Kajina ball anyway, so it didn't matter. He thought it was going to come back against him. The umpire actually had to correct him and say, no, it's okay. It's actually your free kick. We'll play advantage. So a tiny bit of confusion there amongst the boys, but no confusion that Kajina have another opportunity on goal here. And this one pushed to the right, and eventually it'll go through for just the one behind as we get towards the halfway point of this second term. Assuming it's 20 minutes long, 9 minutes and change. You see a bit of a replay there. Now, it's actually quite funny. Talon Munda did stop when he heard the whistle, but the umpire said, no, it's your ball, keep going. It's funny though. But I love the connection that the umpires and the players do have. There's some great respect in it amongst them, which is what you want to see. So ball back now towards centre wing on the Forest Road side. Wallabies there again for the Cats. Feeds it back into traffic. Umpire didn't like that attempt at a handball though, so he's pulled that one back against Kajina. So Bale will get a look in again, and another big mark taken inside 50. Nicely done. Wouldn't mind seeing that one on the replay. Reaching up. Vertical leap was something else. Is the goal kicking equal to the task? It is. So one back for Baulu. And all of a sudden, we have a contest on our hands. 4-2-26 to 2-2-14. They're here for the fight. The Bulldogs, even though the Cats are playing like they're about 10 goals in front. Great to see, though, that Baulu are making any opportunity count as much as they can. As we get a restart once again. Gina, though, looking to only make it just the one goal chain for Baulu, not prevent it from being any further than that. Munda gets a big ball inside 50, and now spinning around with plenty of space in front of him. Bronson Wanganall passes back towards the left forward pocket. Three Cats can really raffle this one. The one that's spinning almost Cosy Pickett style there is a live wire in Herwin Laurel, and now the shot comes out, and it's good. So much right going for the Cats at the moment. So much going right for them. And they've got all the answers at the moment. 5-2-32 to 2-2-14. As we enjoy quickly watching back again. One way, then another, then another. Then a look-away handball over the top was awesome. And all three of those Cats players combined, and Fernie Bilden was the man who ended up finishing off the goal. But really, you can credit all three of them for that one. They all have an equal third share in that play. Staying off with Herwin Laurel. And then Leviticus Nagura as well. He was the meat in that Kajina Cat sandwich of players. And then another good ball now as we get back to the live action. Straight down. No mucking around from Kajina today. Like I said, the Riveroos did a massive number on them. The biggest win of all three of the men's matches last week. Going the Roos' way against the Cats. So they're looking to restore some respectability and percentage as the goal is kicked from point blank range, but just down the guts. Well, no, it's not. It's missed. It was short. Oh, went the early crow. My apologies. Probably just got distracted by the fire. That's just been started behind the goals there at the Fallon Road end. And I was thinking that was where the ball ended up. But anyway, no. Not to be. Ian Jindara, who was helping out with coaching the other week for the Noonkanbah Blues women's. So you'll expect to see him taking on that role again later today because they are in action, the Noonkanbah Blues, or the Yungangora Blues, as their community name is. As a goal is put through nicely, beautifully drilled by Ariel Thurkel. He's got some talent, this man. Don't they all, but certainly he does. He's owning that clubroom wing today so far, and now pushing forward and getting some bang for his buck individually as well as what he's done team-wise so far. So 6-2-38 to 2-2-14 now the score. The graphic almost catching up. It says 7-4-46 to 2-1-13, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Surprise is hoping to get there for Baulu as well as he gets another clearance for him. Probably been their best so far, but unfortunately that's an ill-directed one. Yes, it looks like we've cut that quarter to 15 minutes this time. So the first one felt like it went 20. Maybe it was only 15. So 15 minutes for that second term. Half time we've reached. And we'll just get a look up at the scoreboard once again. Here at Fitzroy Crossing. I have it at 6-2-38 to 2-2-14. The graphic says 7-4 to 2-1. Get the zoom in there. Let's have a look. All right, so 6-4-40 to 2-1-13 is what they have locally. So again, apologies for the earlier issues that we experienced at the start of the quarter and even a couple of times in the first term. But yeah, so Antonio Surprise is behind it. I thought he had gotten at the 2-minute mark of this quarter, not counted. And there was a couple of extra behinds when we lost that first minute to Kajina as well. So that's half time. We'll take a break here and we'll come back ready for the second half. Louis Balzomi here for Film in Footy.
The relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and the price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we can do. The footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
I do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only Lake Race either, it's right where all these outlets are all over the state. He's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colt Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs. And we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so I can't fault them. They've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. They walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship. Being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there and that's part of us.
Second half, ready to go here at Fitzroy Crossing. Second round of the Central Kimberley Football Basketball League, brought to you by Lidl, our naming rights sponsors, Mara Warra Warra, Gandua and the WA Department of Communities. Louis Bulzami here for filming footy, thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, the Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher and Premium Grains. 6-4-40 plays 2-1-13. Got that extra goal for Kajina. I wonder if that's going to be a prediction, not a spoiler. Or actually, could well be the Paul Heyman spoiler, not prediction, because the scoreboard does have 6-4 to actually, doesn't it? 6-4 to 2-2. In actual fact, they did have another conversation at halftime. Did the goal umpires and the field umpires? And Antonio surprise shot on goal that we thought was a behind. Then it wasn't actually added on. It actually has been added back. So just to add some more confusion to the extra difficulties that we've had all the way, whether it's been technical or otherwise at the ground. But anyway, one thing that's not difficult though is Kajina dominating with another shot on goal, just like that. And we definitely got great vision of it that time. Straight through the middle, Irvin Skinner with the first goal of the second half. So our graphics department doesn't have to change the score at all because we're now on that score. 7-4, 46 for Kajina. Just add the one extra behind, though, for Bayulu. And then you've got it back on parity with what the Fitzroy Crossing Forest Road side scoreboard says at 2-2-14. Margin at 32 in favour of the Cats. Have the Dogs got anything in response now? They had a much better second term as Lamarty handballs in towards Kirsten Smith, and they've got a deep entry this time, but that's the mother of all spoils there. That would make the late, great Danny Frawley proud, that one. Over the top, and then out of bounds. Unfortunately, the man, Jeremiah Green, sitting underneath that front and centre, couldn't quite keep that ball alive as the pointy side went the other way and had other ideas. But that was some leap from the back that time there. Kajina doing it all at the moment. So from the restart, Bayulu once again threatening, but once again the Kajina defence just resolute in the crisis. And here is probably the man who I've got as best on at the present time, Ariel Thurkel, who has a goal to his name as well. Got the last one just before half time, but he's been everywhere so far. I dare say the Archies thongs will look great on his feet at the end of this game, along with a commemorative ball from one of the major sponsors. We'll soon see as Kajina now bring it out to centre half back, more on the left-hand side. Ron Bambi, I think, was involved with that play. Nicholas Quiller now has the footy, and he switches play out to the Forest Row wing, which they haven't had as much luck coming through, or much success, I should say. Not really luck, because they've made their own luck, really, coming along this way compared with the other side along the clubroom wing. But this time, though, no issue at all. Navigated traffic beautifully. It was a clean road, no congestion, and they've got it inside 50 now. And I wonder if it's the man that's got the goal last time, Skinner, that's got the football again, number 32. So, from the opposite side, same result, I think. Different angle, same result by the looks of things. There's two flags. So we'll give it to Skinner. He's got a couple now. Kajina continue to own this contest. 8-4-52, Bayulu 2-2-14. Definitely stark contrast to last week. And it certainly was Skinner, just getting the replay up on my secondary monitor. So he is looking the goods as well, Irvin Skinner up forward, especially in this quarter. So Beulah, they've been able to get this part right though. So when the balls come back to the middle, they've usually been the ones that have won the centre clearance. It's just when they get forward though, they've either had the shot on goal and they've either tried to rush it to get another teammate involved or shank the kick, or they've copped it up shallow to the Cats' defence. And it was a ladder on that occasion once again. So something to think about for the final change, unless they can rectify that in general play as the ball comes inside 50. Here's a man who I hope can get a goal himself eventually, Herwin Laurel, who was part of that brilliant trio chain in the second term that saw Bilgen finish off the good work for their 5th goal of the game, Kajina. Worth getting back onto the stream and watching that one. Couldn't do anything that time though. Had to play on with it because he wasn't able to bring the mark down. Ball now into heavy traffic as an attempted kick away, not affected. I think it was Caden Shanley, the 39, I reckon, that tried to get that one out for the Bulldogs. Couldn't do so. Now they've got another problem, and it's a holding the ball decision free kick going the way of Kajina. It will be to their number 1, Quinas Wallaby, who's also had a very solid game, especially forward of centre, and waste no time getting that forward. But unfortunately, though, probably should have used the extra precious seconds to have a bit of a look up because the teammate that was the target was caught out of position. Turnover, and it's Hazella Dick who passes it off to Dick Jr. Jono. Inboard into Kirsten Smith, the 18 for Beulah. So they breathe a little sigh of relief this time, the Bulldogs, from that last passage forward for Kajina, but this is where they have really fallen right down, and once again they are let down by the fantastic defensive work of Bronson Wangunor, but then he lets himself down with that kick out towards right half back and centre wing on the Forest Road side and turns it over. So Antonio Surprise has the footy. We've got another surprise in the side today for Beulah. It's Mickey in the 38. Haven't seen much of him so far, but Antonio's been everywhere. And so has this man too, Kelton Mackey. He's also worked quite hard so far today, and he's got the mark just inside the 50. Might be a bit too far out to score for him, though. We'll see what happens. He's going to try and back himself. And why not? If Harry Mackay thought he could do it last Sunday in that Carlton Essendon game, why wouldn't he? And he's gone the barrel as well. Not a bad effort. It's going to just land about 5 metres short of the top of the square. And once again, Kajina are going to burst away once more. And it's going to be Quiller again. One bounce and then held it out on a platter like it was an appetizer being handed out at weddings to the Beulah faithful. But they said, sorry, mate. We're gluten-free. We can't have that. He goes, all right, well, I'll feed it to our men who don't have any dietary requirements. As now Kajina look to make them pay once again. Short ball inboard, just at the feet, though, of Wanganul. And unfortunately, a ricochet kick accidentally turns it back over into Dick Jr. for the Bulldogs. One bounce through the middle. Long kick, great kick. That's more premiership-style play from the reigning premiers. And Hazella Dick will go back and line up. Will he? No, sorry. Mickey Surprise. There he is. Surprised me, did Mickey. And he's already pointed straight to the 2 big sticks and said, I'm going to put this through the middle of them. Up she goes. Oh, Mickey. Ah, Mickey. Let down. Needed to be through she goes, not up she goes. 2-3-15, plays 8-4-52. So just, well, 2/3 of the way through this third quarter. That second quarter only going the 15 minutes. And I think the first quarter, we said it may have gone 20, but that might have been just our time clock being 5 minutes in advance already when we were doing the warm-up. So we'll go with the 15 minutes for each quarter to confirm. But something that certainly is confirmed right now is that Kajina have all the answers, and they will continue to put a hurting on Beulah if they're good enough and resurrect their percentage after it was given a battering in round 1 by the Riveroos. But Beulah certainly are looking far more composed in this third term as they have another shot on goal, and it's 1 behind. (2-4-16) now to 8-4-52. even 6 goals the margin. Gone now nearly 11 and a half minutes in this third quarter. So at least they're getting a few more looks at goal, Bayulu, but Kajina just equal to the task at the moment. Unfortunately, though, not quite equal that time and losing his footing in a jovial way for the Cats was Sionu Jambara, and he had a good little laugh about it too, and why not? He's enjoying life, and so he should be, as his side are 6 goals up and looking like a well-oiled machine compared to the one that needed an oil change and couldn't get it in time because the mechanic was busy last week against the Riveroos. So the Cats come away from the restart here again. Long ball forward, big ball forward, and this time they find the deep forward in space out the back. A couple of times they've had a try at it this quarter and haven't succeeded. But they make good use of it that time, or this time, and I think it's Nagura. Leviticus Nagura, that might be the man who's got the football here, who kicks truly. Unlike last week, the music just faint enough for us to keep going here. It was blaring nicely last week, though, and unfortunately, for legal reasons, we had to pull away from it. Also, so you can hear yours truly, Louis Wilzomi, bring the call. Although, I guess some fans would think, nah, pump the music up, don't worry about Lou. But anyway, so it's just nice and faint, has a good little bed in the background for us to add to the atmosphere. 9-4-58, 2-4-16 now. 7 goals to the good. And Nagura, the man with that last goal. Someone will credit as Bayulu do get one on the bounce. Very nice. Very, very good response. A quick blink if you miss it response. Blink and you miss it. So 3-4-22 plays 9-4-58. Still hanging around, Bayulu. Once again getting the clearance. Antonio Surprise is the man who got it out quickly. And he also had the good vision into Dick Jr., who ran around the man of the mark, who was caught napping. And that was Con Forrest. He conned him nicely and then finished off strongly. So Dick Jr. with the goal there. Jonathan Dick Jr. for the Bulldogs. As Kajina bring it forward once again, but it's cut off this time as Surprise. Antonio dives, tumbles, can't gather, but gets a free kick for his troubles. They continue to fight on. This ball gets caressed now towards centre half forward. Here's an opportunity here for Javis Dick. Can he do what Dick Jr. was able to do only a minute ago? No, that one falls short. The Cats' defence don't concede either. They do nicely to hold out on that one. Very, very well done. And even with the composure in heavy traffic too, to find some space in the following lane and put the blinker on. Although the kick, though, wasn't to the advantage of Clinton Shaw, who now has quite a more difficult task to extract the footy out. Can't do so, but Kajina, the cavalry arrive once again for them. And they succeed eventually, do they? No, they won't. This is good forward pressure from Bayulu. Javistic gets another opportunity at it. Swings around onto the left. Gets towards the square. Bayulu still in possession. Not anymore. Not anymore. Oh, it was building and building and building. Unfortunately, it all counts for naught in the end. Might well have been our man Brian Johnson, I think, who got caught there, Mr. Akadaka. So a sad ending for that build-up of play for Baylor. So had I got that one to finally string two together, this could have been something interesting, even though the margin's still quite sizable for Kajina. As we see on the replay here, he was certainly not happy with it though, Johnson, as he was pulled down. Felt that he was legged. Umpire thought, no, I saw enough of the tackle be affected above the knees. As Dick Jr. now has a flying shot at the goals, misses them completely, and we get a three-quarter time siren. So pretty frantic third quarter there, but well fought out by Bayulu, even though Kajina did extend their lead from half-time, which was 26 points. Now, I believe it's sitting at 36. There it is. Yep, there's the confirmed score. 9-4-58 to 3-4-22. If there's any further changes to that, we will let you know on the other side of this break. Louis Bulzomi once again here for Filming Footy Round 2 action, Central Kimberley Football Basketball League. Thanks for sticking around through, despite all the troubles that we've been experiencing from a technical aspect. We do apologise. Baylor Bulldogs and Kajina Cats, the Cats on top.
Hi, could you do me a favour? Could you help Darling a bit over? Yeah, that way. You can just unhook it from there.
Final quarter of our round 2 CKFBL clash between Bayulu and Kajina. Kajina in charge by 36 points and looking to see if they can truly finish the Bulldogs off and wear out their last ounce of resistance. Well, the Bulldogs once again got the clearance out. They've been doing that most of the game, and I've enjoyed what Antonio Surprise has been able to bring to the table because he's been the one that's got the bulk of those, but Kajina were able to repel that time. Not far enough, though, as Trevon Smith stops their latest procession forward and gets dragged off the footy. And did he hold the ball too long? No, the umpire said he got held without it and also held crudely. So a free kick his way. He's been quite the soldier today too, Trevon Smith. Tumbling ball, though, not his best effort. Antonio Surprise won't be able to get to that. Wallaby in his way, and now he releases Vanby. Fleet-footedness of him up forward. Mark almost spilled there by the 47, who I reckon is DeWert Munda. He had no number listed on the team sheet, was provided from our good man Callan. But he was that's the only number I don't see on the team sheet, so put 2 and 2 together. That's who we're going to roll with for the time being. As it's Bayulu now go forward. Shot on goal. Wayward, but it gets towards the right forward pocket. Mackie was there, couldn't get hands to it, unfortunately, at the death. Kajina breakaway once again, but not far enough, though, because the mark is taken right inside 50 by Javis Dick. And he'll go back and attempt a shot on goal. See what he can do to put it through. Of course, Callan Hatchman is the man we are referring to. Community Development Officer of the Central Kimberley Football and Basketball League, helping out today with team sheet provision and other updates all the way through. Chris Tate for Wanky Radio behind the camera as well, doing a fantastic job despite the difficulties having to be faced with connection and also operational issues, but going through nicely and fighting right through to the end, as we will do for this game, as well as our next one, the women's game, which will finish off our program today, the Yungangora Nunkamba Blues and the Malaja Lionesses. As we see a shot on goal here from Mackie. He had a sniff of it about a minute or so ago, couldn't trap the football in the right forward pocket, but thankfully, though, Javis Dick able to effect the intercept at centre-half forward, got it back towards him, took the mark, kicked the goal. So 4-4-28 plays 9-4-58. And this has been well fought out by Bayulu. Now, they did have a great last quarter against Wankachunga as well, where they kicked 4 straight and won the quarter by 2 goals as well. So we'll see whether or not they can do something similar. Yeah, another small win for them it would be, even though it won't be the 4 points you would think. I think Kajina's margin is still too great for them. Their buffer still quite handy at 5 goals at the present time. We know funnier things happen in football. It's a great sport to launch big comebacks. This time it's Kajina, though, who get the clearing kick away. One of the rare times they've been able to do so since the early stage of the first quarter, would you believe, because it's been mostly Bayulu dominating from there. And you see what happens when the Cats are able to pounce on a centre clearance. They get a shot pretty quickly. And Thurkel will be the man to take it. And for me, I still reckon he's been my best on. There have been a few others, though, that have crept up close to him. But from the very beginning, when the game was tight, this man stood up and owned the clubroom wing as he goes for goal. I think he's just shaved that to the near side, the one behind. Just over 4 minutes gone, nearly 4.5 in this final term. Doesn't have to really be a handy point, that one, because even though it makes it now 6 goals to get in front, as opposed to 5 to level it straight. You'd think, though, the advantage is still too good as they get another repeat entry here to the Cats. Started by Wallaby into Wanganul, and once again Thurkel taking the mark just inside 50, and he finds a teammate straight up to goal. Not much further in or closer, but certainly straighter as far as the angle is concerned. We can try and get a zoom in on him. We'll give you the name of that player, and it's Con Forrest. Gets the round of applause because he's set up the goal assist here. And it will be to Irvin Skinner, who puts it through. Or does he? Yes, he does. Just waiting on the confirmation from the umpire there, and he's got it. So Skinner, he's got 3 now. Maybe putting up his hand for a late play for the Archies footwear, but I still reckon my man Thurkel, the 18, has them firmly on his feet, and he ain't giving them up in a hurry. 10-5, 65 to 4-4, 28. Here's a score we've got on that Forest Road side scoreboard, as opposed to the graphic that has 89 to 22. We do apologise. The graphics, on top of a few other things, strength of signal and the like, have also wreaked havoc on us, but we still are fighting through here at Filming Footy and doing a wonderful job. It is a brilliant team here, and we do love the assistance as well from our good friends at Wanky Radio as well. As I mentioned, Chris Tate behind the camera today. To get a restart, players having to watch out where that umpire runs to. Of course, the umpiring fraternity led by the legend Gavin Smith. As Kajina once again get a clearing kick away, but one of the rare times they turn it over immediately off that first kick inside 50. So a minor letdown for them. We'll see whether they can pounce back onto this one. They certainly do, and here's another one that could make a play for the Archies, though. I still reckon they are firmly on the feet of Thurkel, but Quiller not far behind him. As they now rip away through the middle. So it was Quiller was the man who was able to get the turnover out on that Forest Road wing. And there is my favourite Thurkel inside 50. Oh, the trap was sensational there, and I reckon it would have been the young man Laurel, Herwin Laurel, who kept it in and kept it alive, but couldn't get it any further forward, though. It's stuck in the right forward pocket for them, but they're going to get a ball back. Will Kajina. And it's number 29 this time, Leviticus Nagura, who was part of that trifecta in the play of the day so far. That led to the goal by Bilgin in the second term, and he gets one himself here. Well done. Leviticus Nagura. Putting that one through. If there was any doubt about the 4 points going Kajina's way, certainly put to bed now. 11-5-71 to 4-4-28. We are now over halfway through this final quarter, confirming 15-minute quarters for this match. We'll soon find out whether the next match between the Blues and the Lionesses to finish off the program for today will be the same length of time as well. As Bayulu now fight their way forward, and they might have got one on the bounce here. They have. I reckon Mackie might be the man who's snuck that through for his second. So they are refusing to wave the white flag entirely, the Bulldogs, which is good to see. And apart from Thurkel's miss, it has been almost a repeat of that last quarter last week between Bayulu and Wankajunga, where it was 6 straight. We've got 4 goals, 1 in total in this quarter. Both sides have kicked a couple. So we'll see now what happens again. We might have a little bit of an injury concern here for one of our Feline friends, unfortunately, just a little hobble around, maybe a sprained ankle. Still favouring that right ankle, unfortunately. We'll get a look at who that is in a moment. It's one of the Cats players. Ball's going to come near him, though. Hopefully he is further away from the action. There he goes, through the middle. But he's got plenty of soldiers around him, though, to pick up the slack for him and do it quite nicely. One of those being Larian Costain. That Costain name very prominent in the women's circles. Might see a fair few of those running around a bit later on for the Blues in our next game. Yungangora Nunkambar. As we get another shot on goal here for Kajina. Will we? No, we won't, because that ball has been pulled in and it was smart play again. Why not waste a few seconds? It's not against the rules. Evan Skinner doing it nicely, and he's found who I believe this is to Wertmunder in the 47. As mentioned, the team sheet provided to me by Callan Hatchman earlier today didn't have a number next to this man's name, but 47 is the only one that's not on the list. So we'll give it to him. Why not? Wertmunder gets the goal. As this game has truly opened up now. Flurry of goals to finish off. 12-5-77 to 5-4-34. Margin at 43 in favour of the Cats. Who have certainly responded well after their thrashing at the hands of the Riveroos last week. So free kick, Ainsley Jack to take it out of the ruck for the Bulldogs for an infringement. They waste no time going forward here. Centre half forward. The kick up is nice, and it's taken by Tamura Swiler. If I'm not mistaken, in the game last week, had a moment or two. Also in the pre-season as well, where he bobbed up to do a couple of nice things. But anyway, that one falls short, but Cranball has roved it nicely on the edge of the square and put it through. Great work, Ted Cranball. Great work all around by Bayulu. The question does beckon, where was this in the first three quarters? But you don't take anything away from what Kajina have been able to do, though. Solid defence, fantastic link-up work between the arcs, and then finishing off brilliantly in front of goals as well, for the most part, and repeat entries have been their mantra today, whereas Bayulu have got the centre clearance right, but then most of the time they've seen that ball get repelled back quick, but in the last quarter, though, they've been able to go neck and neck quite nicely, as Wanganul now gets it away for Kajina, inside 50. This one, though, cut off by Brian Johnson, who gets it out towards Antonio Surprise. Long kick back in the middle. It's been marked, though, and turned over. Either won the Bambi there for the Cats. Short ball into Quiller again. There's Quiller, steers that one in. Cut off. Will it reach to the goal line here for the Bulldogs? Now, if my man Thurkel gets another sniff at a goal here, those Archies are guaranteed to be on his feet, because Quiller is certainly knocking on the door, though, to take him off him. Couldn't quite get that one alive. Boundary throw. Still have Thurkel in front, though, but barely, because Quiller is certainly closing the gap, because I dare say he might be leading the disposal count if we were keeping score of that stat. As from the throw-in, what's the umpire saying here? Ruck infringement. Kajitina's way. Siano Jambura will have the shot to finish off an awesome day, a splendid day for the feline fraternity against the deeply cut canines today. And a good finish too for their 13th goal overall. Jambura gets his name on the score sheet. 13-5-83 to 6-4-40. And we're just about done here. So you would think once the ball gets back to the middle, we'll have a sounding siren pretty soon. Umpire Gavin Smith, he'll determine that as he gets reset yet again. Up she goes. And away they come once more. Kajina, they've still got one more goal on their minds. Wallaby does nicely with the centre clearance, and immediately the big target says, I'm going back. And we mentioned before that we were allocating the 47 to Munda. And apologies if that's not right, but that's all we can work with on the sheet. And hey, he passed it off to Quilla. Quilla, yes! Now that puts a smile on my face big time. Roses on my cheeks too, because I am blushing at that prospect, that young Nicholas Quilla, who is knocked up, helping everybody else out today, gets a goal back himself. And I'll tell you what now, you can almost toss the coin between he and Thurkel for best on ground. Keep singing Thurkel's praises, but Quilla has been just about his equal, especially since quarter time. So I might just have to toss the coin there. Going to be very, very hard to split them now as we have a score of 14-5, 89 to 6-4-40. And thankfully, looks like one technical issue has been squashed, and that's our graphic score is now matched up to the ground score. And there's going to be no extra additions to either side because that is our final siren that we hear bellowing around. So it looks like we're able to get over 16 minutes, nearly 17 minutes of game time, maybe 16 and a half. That's all she wrote. What a win for Kajina. Emphatic win in the end. 14-5-89 to 6-4-40. And a wonderful response by them after the Riveroos did an emphatic number on them last week. So that's it for our men's program today in round 2 of the CKFBL. But stick around because we do have our last women's game to bring you. The Yangangora Nunkamba Blues up against the Malaja Lionesses. Repeat of last year's grand final and also a repeat of our pre-season game, the Bujiman Carnival. We saw those two sides go at it, and that was a tight contest as well. So cannot wait to bring that to you very, very shortly. We will Zomi here for filming footy. In association with Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher and Premium Grains. Of course, the CKFBL is proudly brought to you by Lidl, naming right sponsor, Mara Warrawara, Gundua and the Department of Communities. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly with our final game of round 2.
The relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and they're price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and yeah, give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we could do. Footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
I do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only Lake Race either, you know, it's right through where all these outlets are all over the state. You know, he's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colts Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs. And we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so yeah, I can't fault them. You know, they've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. You know, they walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship. Being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there, and that's part of us.
The fifth and final match of round 2 of the Central Kimberley Football Basketball League, and the second of the 2 women's games. The Yangangora Nunkambar Blues and the Malaja Lionesses, who did battle in last year's grand final with the Blues just triumphing, and also did battle in the Budjiman pre-season carnival. Get to lock horns once again here on Film in Footy with Louisville's Amy, yours truly in commentary. And the first quarter is underway, and Taisha Jimbidi for the Lionesses, or the Lions, whichever way you want to go by it, is caught and unfortunately gives the ball away. To her Blues opponent. Might have been skiing that time, although we're in a different number than last week, 18 instead of the 10, but anyway. Fortunately, I haven't got team sheets provided yet, but we're going to run with what I've got in previous matches, so apologies if any names are confused on my end, but I'm just running with what I've got here, so we'll keep on chugging along, just like the Lionesses are trying to do here. Casey Jingle is the one who plays the tune along the wing as the sun now sips past and behind a few of the clouds above to give a bit of respite to everybody. As Jingle was able to send that one forward. Having a bit of a scrap heap there is Kita Walati for the Lions, but can't keep it alive. Inboard it goes inside the middle. What can Stack do here for Malaja? Able to break out of the traffic just for the moment. Once again getting involved in Biddy, but she couldn't keep it alive. Umpire now has picked out a free kick going the way of the Blues, courtesy of Ebony Bedford. She gets it towards centre half forward. And a little bit of a truncal kick from Wongawal there, Lavisha, who may have just got a little caught underneath with her left ankle. She's still favouring a little bit. The ball comes back to her now, so she's got to have to fight through the pain and not worry about it. Mind over matter stuff as she keeps on going in the middle of that big pack as well. And now she trudges out of that like a boss. Well played, Lavisha, as the ball's still in close quarters around everybody. There's Jaquela Skinner. Sneaking that one out into the path of Bernice Skinner. The Skinner girls combining here. Just got a handball away in time, did Bernice. As the Blues continue to surge it forward by hand here, but that's as far as they go. The Lions able to chase them down and then gallop away. And that's a good double grabber there from Benicia Williams, the 11, who finds Jimbidi, who now finally has some room to work into because the first couple of touches she had were in tight. Gave the first free kick away and then lost the football a second time around as she finds Walati. And Walati's ball can't stay in the field of play, out of bounds. So, Lasso free on the way of Nunkambar. Sahalia Button will take it. Her ball inboard is not too bad to a girl who had a great game last week. In fact, we gave her the best on ground, Julia Bent. Oh, just overspent the kick there, unfortunately. Didn't realise the credits there weren't in the account. Has to top up next time. And unfortunately caught for illegal disposal as well, just to rub more salt into it. So, Malaja come away with it, but only up to centre half forward. Nunkambar able to repel the attack. What can Bernice Skinner do here? She was dangerous last time she got around the football. Could prove to be equally as this time. She paddles around. It might be Katisha Sampi, who's suiting up for a couple of teams this year. We saw her do some wonderful things last week as well for the Bailey Bulldogs, helping them out. I'm assuming it's Sampi in the number 2. As we get this one inside 50 now. Fighting hard for it there is Ashley Gardner for the Blues. The C's part for it too. Emmy Kennedy was involved with that. Very nicely done by her to put the shepherd on. Great 1% of work. That's Archie's footwear stuff there, Emmy. As this one now finds its way towards the top of the square. Girls tumbling over each other. Out the back it comes, and then Kennedy bobs up again. She must have heard me saying that she'd probably get the Archies with that 1% of work. She says, all right, I'll just compound that with a goal. Beautiful, Emmy Kennedy. What a beautiful player you are too. First blood drawn by the Nunkambar Blues. The Yangangora Nunkambar Blues. 1 straight 6 to the Malaja Lionesses. No score. We know that she can be dangerous, Emmy Kennedy, when she can get her hands on the football more often. Doesn't do too bad without it, but certainly has more exponential impact with it, and she proved that exactly on point right there, as that's got to be a hold, umpire. Surely that jumper stretched as far as the Nulla Ball Plains, and well picked up. So the Blues once again fighting it forward. There's a few numbers there that unfortunately I don't have on hand with me from the team sheets that I was given by John Douglas last week. Still awaiting the team sheets, if Callan Hatchman can hear me, for today's game. There's the full dozen over to the dozen and a half. That's what we're going to have to go with, 12 to 15. Unfortunately, those two are not on my list. My apologies. As looks like our dozen girl will get a shot on goal here. Brought forward with a penalty. Might be a little too far to score for herself, as she does find the going a little bit too tough, unfortunately, in at the end. So Malaja, get away with that one. Jingle, she skips away. Great mark taken, outstretched, and then runs into open space. The kick, though, let her down, unfortunately. Might be an opportunity now for the Blues to bounce back. We'll soon see. As the umpire has picked out a free, it's going to go back the way of Malaja. Back inside the middle it goes. Blues once more. A good side step. I reckon that could well be Lucille Mulligan, I reckon, the 19, who we didn't see play last week. Lucille through the middle. Unfortunately, though, unable to find further targets of field to a decisive advantage. Malaja once again able to cut that one off. So good to see, though, Lucille back in the lineup for the Blues today. As the ball finds its way inside 50 now for Malaja. Hold the ball, free kick, and they'll get a shot. Much to the Blues' defence's disappointment. As the ball gets popped up towards the top of the square, and it's marked! So they'll definitely get the shot now to square this one up. Through it goes. Full points. Round of applause as well. Good team play by Malaja to get the game back on level terms. One straight 6 apiece. Got a feeling it was Benita Sherrill, the 6, that might have kicked that one. Just trying to get a good look at the number there. I reckon it might be the half dozener. So Emmy Kennedy with the first goal, and we're going to credit that last one to Benita Sherrill. So good tight opening stanza for both sides at the moment. The Blues have had the better of it in terms of general play, but the Lions, though, have looked pretty slick when they've had open space, and they work it out towards right half forward on this passage of play here. Millie Banjo side steps nicely, gets this one now inside 50, not quite to the advantage there of Sherrill, but she makes her own luck. Does that was Benita there. Great tackle, and then bring down. It was Velarde, I should say, the number 4. Probably a couple of number 4s running around for Malaja. Have to keep an eye on that, as Blues unfortunately couldn't break away. It'll come back with interest, you would think. Side 50 it goes. At the feet of it, though, the Blues are able to sneak this one back out towards the clubroom side centre wing, the shade of the Coolabah tree. Not quite now, because we've got cloud cover today. Haven't had much of it in recent times here in the central Kimberleys, but now it's arrived and given us plenty of respite. As a free kick gets picked out here to Nunkambar. Given to legs 11, another one who I don't unfortunately have on the team sheet. My apologies to you, young lady. That's a Harley a button to 4, though. Looks like she was the one that had possession, got brought down by Millie Banjo, who's starting to rub her hands together nicely and get in the thick of it quite a fair bit. But good recovery, though, by Button to get it forward further for the Blues. Shallow entry, unfortunately, though, as it gets repelled back. Trying to take this one here is Bernice Skinner. Traps it, then loses it to Venetia Williams, the 11. It's just a little indent on the top of the ones. You can almost confuse that with a 7, but clearly an 11 there, as now the Blues surge it forward. Tip of the square. Still kept out, though, by Malaja. Well done. Once again, opportunity for Jingle. She's had plenty of looks at it, and she's probably balanced between good and the bad so far. That one probably in the bad column, but she can get it back into the good if they prevent a shot on goal here. Unfortunately, they won't, though. It will be a shot here. Gardner misses to the right, one behind. Puts the Blues back in front. 1-1-7 to 1 straight 6. $11 minutes gone here in this first term. You are with Louisville's Amy here for filming footy, all thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher and Premium Grains. CKFBL, proudly sponsored by Lidl, the naming rights sponsor, Mara Warra Warra, Gundua, and the WA Department of Communities. As what will Malaja do here? They nearly cough it up. Oh, that was dicing with death there, but they get away with it barely. Only barely. Hospital handball on the goal line. Your life flashes before your eyes when you see that sort of play. But anyway, they stand up to it not without fear. So you want to see with these young ladies. Play with confidence. Play like your life depends on it. That's exactly what the Lionesses have been able to muster up there to prevent a Blues score. But it definitely looked like they were walking on a tightrope. But we'll see whether it happens the second time here, as our best on ground from last week, Jamelia Bent, takes the mark. And gets this one to open space. Another girl, unfortunately, we don't have listed there, but she's got a good number on the back because that represents my birthday next Friday, 19th of June, just quietly. So we'll might call her LB birthday for the sake of it. Oh, no, we do have it. Sorry, Lucille Mulligan. That's right. I was able to bring her up from the pre-season. Apologies there. Just getting a little bit confused with some of the numbers we don't have on the screen. But no, I'm sorry, Lucille. We do have you. And she comes again. She must have heard me as well, just like Emmy Kennedy with that goal. So, all right, get my name right this time. And she puts that one inside 50 with some purpose too, but the Malaja defence up to the task that time. Equally up to it as well. Passing with flying colours as they break away on the Forest Road wing. Back inside the centre square, but Bent has other ideas. So she said, get out of my way, girls. I'm getting this one back forward for the Blues, and she does nicely. What can they muster here? As the kick goes lateral, and the fickle bounce of the ball, but not confusing our girl there at all. I reckon it's one of the Castains, if I'm not mistaken, with a change of jumper number. Could be big Angelica. Normally she runs around the 48. I reckon it's her in the 30. Apologies if it's not anyway. It comes out the back here. It runs and runs. Kennedy almost. Not quite, one behind. So closing in on quarter time. 2-point lead to Nungambar. 1-8 to Malaja. 1 straight 6. We'll see whether that will be the quarter time score in just under a minute's time. As the ball comes out towards right half back for the Lions. It was Janika Squeen that had the shot on goal before, the number 10. That just eluded Kennedy as it rolled and rolled away. The crowd got excited, though, because they thought that it was on track to go through, but just that off-cutter that she wasn't expecting. She thought she had the straight ball of the seam as They have completely put that out of their memory bank, though, Noonkanbah. They move forward with it. They don't look in the rear-view mirror, and they have another shot on goal on this occasion. Only about 20 or so out from goal. In she comes. And it's through the eye a little, as Brian Taylor would say. Right on the quarter time siren. I have a feeling that was Gardner that had the shot. Number 31. Amy Kennedy very happy with the work done by herself and her fellow forwards. So we'll credit it to Gardner, who's got 1 goal, 1 so far, and that's quarter time. Or 15-minute quarters in this game as well. 2-2-14 for the reigning premiers. The reigning runners-up, 1 straight 6. Remember, it was heartbreaking scenes for the Lions in the dying seconds of last year's grand final with Noonkanbah sneaking the winning goal. And then even in the Budjiman pre-season carnival and their matchup, was Noonkanbah once again able to get over the line. But only barely. 2-2-14 to 1-2-8, that score there. So 2-2-14 to 1 straight 6. Here's the score that we have at the present time. We'll take a break and we'll come back with the second quarter very shortly. And you're back live here on Filming Footy with Louis Bulzomi, round 2 of the Central Kimberley Football Basketball League. Our final game for broadcast. We've had just the 2 today out of the 5. With yours truly, Louis Bulzomi. But, hey, quality over quantity, eh? What about that? It's our second of the women's games, though, between Yungangora Nukumbar Blues and the Malaja Lionesses. And, well, pulling more than just double duty. Multitasking at its finest. The Community Development Officer for the CKFBL, Callan Hatchman, umpiring out there for this game, along with Gavin Smith and Jeff Davies is also around there too, doing some wonderful work, as we know. And we now have the updated team sheet. So thank you very much, Callan. Appreciate that. Chris Tate also behind the camera there. A good man at Wanky Radio, also doing a fine job. And a big shout out too to Brandon Woolhouse as well, running things on the tech side. He's had quite the weight of the world. He almost feels like he's in the Strait of Hormuz at the moment with the battles that he's had to fight, but he's willfully soldiered on nicely. Everyone doing a fantastic job today. So now we do have the updated team sheet. So we have had plenty of changes, and as I feared, unfortunately, a few mix-ups in names. The goal kicker was not Sherelle for the Lions. In actual fact, it was Adele Williams who's wearing the 6 today. But Benita Sherelle, I think, will be happy with the plug anyway. Why not? So as we get started for the second quarter, I'll read the full names out for you here. And some of these names we do have. As the Blues get their way forward. We'll just wait for another stoppage in play because we have got a quick advancement and a shot on goal straight up. And it's Anastasia Pye who has the mark at the moment. And also, another change there. And number 31 for... Oh, she's actually coughed that one up, so... No shot on goal there. So Ash Gardner, who did wear the 31 last time that the Blues ran out last week against the Bayulu Bulldogs, not wearing 31 today. That's now been worn by Stacey Bedford. Jamala Treshelle was nearly going to wear that, but Bedford ended up taking it. So there she is on cue. And she might get a free kick for her troubles here, will she? I think she's going to. Some head-high contact. So just waiting for umpire to give that one back. And that'll be Callan out there. I said Callan Hatchman, thank you very much. Better late than never, as they say. As the handball comes off to the number 23. This is Miranda Skinner. We had Ebony Bedford listed last week in that number, so the girls saying, all right, we can all share the love of our favourite numbers instead of having one just hog it throughout the season, and why not? Sharing is caring, as Shane McCarthy, who wore 34 last week, in the 8 today, sees that one across. So Miranda Skinner in the 23, Stacey Bedford, who has a goal so far in the 31. Celeste Costain, we missed her last week. She was a late withdrawal, but back today, 39. Bernice Skinner has kept her 26, as has Emmy Kennedy, and she's got one of the 2 goals so far. We'll see whether she could linger in and around this play. No, Skinner is the one instead who grabs that. Miranda. And that ball, though, trickling away from its intended target. Anastasia Pye is the one wearing 30, so we nearly thought Big Angelica Costain was the one in that, but not quite. They almost could double up for twins, those two. Both equally as beautiful as each other, as we know. All these girls certainly are, especially with the way they play their football. They know only one way, and that's go hard and go proud. As the Lions try and clear away, they can't do so. So Skinner, so I said Miranda Skinner 23, Stacey Bedford 31, Celeste Costain in the 39, Bernice Skinner in the 26. As a mad scrap continues on, and a free kick I think is picked out going the way of Malaja. To be taken by their number 10, who is Jakamus Bilgen. You saw, I believe, her brother do some wonderful things for Kajina in the previous game. And Fernie, who kicked that beautiful goal, which was part of that trio of sensational left forward pocket play. He, Herwin Laurel, and Leviticus Nagura all combining for arguably the goal of the match against Bayulu late in that second term. So the other side of the Bilgan chain, the other side of their coin as far as today's games are concerned, out there at the moment for Maludja in at the number 10 as Isabel Surprise. Of course, Mickey and Antonio playing for Bayulu in the previous game. She's out there for Maludja too, wearing the 7. As the scrap continues. And it's Nunkambar who win that out with a free kick. And apologies again, we had Taisha Jimbidi wearing the 9 in the preseason game for Maludja. In fact, it's Tanisha Oscar who wears that. So we will get through these numbers as we go along here. Maludja withstanding the flurry from Nunkambar at the present time, but still trail it here by 8 points. As we've got it listed as TJ, but I've still got a feeling it is Jingle though. KJ is close enough to TJ, is it not? We'll go with the Jingle, which has got listed down as TJ in the 22. That's a little nickname, so that's fine. We can do that. Got the kick away, but then it got repelled back, and then she got some support here to have another crack at it for Maludja towards the 50. Good scrap, which just affected the kick for Whitney Peter. Coming out now here, this is Oscar, the 9, subbing in for Jimbidi, who wore that number earlier on in the Woodjiman pre-season carnivals. You see the big fire down the Fallon Road end, still burning brightly and nicely. Thank goodness no tidal fire bans today, as Maludja's efforts end up being stifled. For all their hard work trying to force that one forward. They kept inching closer and closer and closer, but Nunkambar able to hold them off, but not for long though. Maludja back in possession. Here's Oscar once again. Can she channel her inner Oscar Piastri and drive it home? No, she just feeds the handball in close. Will this one work out for them? Well, they've got the X Factor there wearing the white jumper as well up forward Maludja. It's like the sharpshooter in AFL 9s when they wear the sash to say they're the designated shooter. Or could play both sides, either way. Not to be that time, but they might have an opportunity here because paddling it forward is Millie Banjo, who we do have listed, but with a different number, 15 into 23, and the shot on goal comes. And unfortunately, it's hit the woodwork. I think it was Jakani James that time, just the one behind. We initially had Keita Wallardi listed as number 4, but it's confirmed that Jakani James has that number instead. And she actually did play in that Woodjiman pre-season carnival game for the Lions. There were 2 of them who wore 4 that day. She and also Keita Wallardi, but we'll give it to Jakani this time as the sole owner of 4 for this week, at least. As Maludja regain possession again. They have the only score of the second quarter so far, which has travelled just over 6 minutes. 1-1-7 to 2-2-14. Now, Youngangora and Nunkambar have a good little possession chain going here. A couple of good solid marks. An opportunity to break away. This is one who we thought was Gardner, but no longer Gardner. It was Stacey Bedford getting it forward for them, who linked up quite nicely with Jamala Button. We're in number 2, so she has kept that number from last week, inside 50. Unfortunately, they don't go any further. Almost an opportunity for Ashley Wilgari, who's the girl that we couldn't quite put a name on in the first quarter, but we have now wearing the 18. She got the first possession of the game, the first clearance. As Button, Jamala, handball back to Wilgari. Shot goes across the face, but it's marked in the field of play. Textbook stuff for the Blues. They meant to do that. And they'll have the shot on goal. And will it be for full points? Yep, it is. Beautifully done. Great take. I reckon it was Ladisha Yamera. In the 38, who got that goal. 220 to 117. Just over 8 minutes gone here in the second term as the beautiful sunset now over Fitzroy Crossing Oval. What a treat it is to get to call a late game so far in CKFBL. Usually I'm on for the earlier ones. Today, getting the call to do the last couple for you. And loving the setting now, as the Blues are loving the lead that they're enjoying at the moment. You just double check on play on that. I think it was Celeste Costain that got that goal. As I said, missing in action last week, but I reckon it was the 39. To give the Blues a 13-point buffer at the moment. So we'll give that one to her. We'll credit her with that one for now. As they all wrestle around for it. Can't break away inside Maludger's 50. So again, we're just updating the team lists either way. Apologies there. I was running with Budgeman Carnival pre-season list for the Lions and last week's list for the Blues, but been a lot of changes of jumper numbers and a few extra girls in for some who are missing today. We'll get those updated for you in full at the half. We'll run with what we've got for the time being. Just shy of 10 minutes gone here in the second term. It's Blues by 13 points, but Maludger have fought well in this second term, hoping to get some reward for effort. Possession there, could almost be Kevin Bartlett hungry style, just handball to yourself, but drawing a crowd though. It was unfortunate for Narada Croft. Bees to a honeypot. The Blues got around her, and it set a too difficult task for Bilgen to maintain possession without giving away a free in the end. So away come Nunkambar, but only as far as centre half forward. Good trap and kick away from Frey Mello for the Lions, but she didn't find a target in the middle. It's going to come back over her head here. Who she got out the back? Oh, she's got someone who is so light under her feet, and that is Benita Sherrill. So she's playing, just tricked me with a different number. Honestly, I did think Katisha Sampi wasn't playing for them. She helped out, as I said, Sampi did help out the Lions in the pre-season. But I feel better now knowing that Benita is out there, and she would have loved me crediting her with that goal that Adele Williams kicked in the first term. But anyway, they're all on the same team. It's a team goal. It's a team game, of course. Speaking of which, Nunkambar, opportunity, no, not happening. First time smothered, but second time it's going to work. Originally off the boot of Ashley Walgari, had it smothered, it ricocheted back to her, handball over top, and that time Landisha Yamera finishes the goods. Fourth goal to Youngangora Nunkambar. 4-2-26 plays Maludger 1-1-7. Almost 12 gone in this second quarter, sorry. As Lions get themselves forward, but only with just the one kick. It was a longish one, which might give them an opportunity to get the ball back here on centre wing, but not at all, says Jamala Button. Paddles it. Unfortunately, though, ran lateral to the footy and lost her body behind it, and that's what allowed the Lions to shut her down in the end. They get the kick away, but not all that far along forward. Zina Rose Costain, who wore 5 last week, in the 11 today. Unable to keep that one alive for the moment, but she had some support at the back, at centre half back to be exact. And it was Terry Ann Dunn, the 32, who took the mark. And she's coughed it up straight away. So can Malaja get an answer here? They might have an opportunity because the mark has been taken with a bounce, if you don't mind, running away from the face of goals. It will be some kick from Whitney Peter. Finds a teammate in close quarters, and I reckon that was Jacani James, the grey sleeves. Nearly thought about having a shot, realising there was pressure on her kick, so got the handball. And unfortunately, though, there was pressure on that too. But they've got the setup out the back here. Do the Lions, the Lionesses. That might have been Joy Dempsey, I think, in the 20. She unfortunately turns it over. As the ball finds its way back out of defensive 50 for the Blues. They withstand the challenge nicely. As it's Zina Rose Costain again. Remembering a jumper change from 5 last week to 11 this week. One there, not taken. That was by Bedford that time, who has got a goal to her name. Got a couple, a goal and a behind, I should say. Stacey Bedford. Inside 50 it comes now for the Blues. They've got a 3-on-2 advantage here. Can they make it work? It will nearly be a 4-on-2. Not if Sherelle has anything to say about that for the Lions. She does quite well too. Coco Sherelle. Unfortunately though, one too many to contend with, as that shot has found its way through off the side of the boot. That's got to be a goal. And it is. Looking in control, 5-2, 32 to 1-1-7. Shades of half-time. Shades and shadows. The time score was 2-2, 14 to 1 straight 6. And then Malaja got one last little semblance of opportunity here to get a score on the board. They've got the one behind for their troubles, and they've done so much attacking this quarter, they won't get it, and that's been the sorry tale for them, sadly, in this second term. A term that on the scoreboard was dominated by Nunkambar, but in general play, though, it was relatively even. Unfortunate ending for them. The Lions, and the halftime score is 5-2, 32 to 1-1-7. So we'll take yet another break, and we'll come back ready for the second half. You're with Louis Bulzomi here on Filming Footy. All thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher and Premium Grains. The Central Kimberley Football Basketball League Round 2 action in the women's, the Yungangora Nunkambar Blues and the Malaja Lions, all thanks to Lidl, name your right sponsors, Mara Warra Warra, Gandua and the Department of Communities, Western Australia. Back soon.
The relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really, really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and the price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great and the service is second to none. So I ring up and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we can do. The footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
They do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only Lake Race either, you know, it's right through where all these outlets are all over the state. You know, he's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colts Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs. And we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so yeah, I can't fault them. You know, they've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. You know, they walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship, being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there and that's part of us.
Welcome back. In readiness for the second half of our final game for broadcast here on Filming Footy in the Central Kimberley Football Basketball League, round 2, with yours truly, Louis Balzomi. The Yungangora Noonkanbah Blues in complete control of the Gallants, but unfortunately scoreboard success-starved Maludja Lionesses, who do have the 1-goal won, courtesy of Adele Williams, and along with Jakani James, the goal scorer and the behind scorer respectively, but 5-2-32 is the score on the other side of the ledger. All singles for the Blues so far. Emmy Kennedy started like a house on fire with the first goal, and she's been joined since by Janika Skeen, who kicked the last goal. But in the middle, Stacey Bedford also, Lindisha Yamera and Celeste Costain. As we get started here, ready to go in this third term. We are off to the races once again, and the Lions come away with this one once and then twice again, but not that far off Isabel Surprise's boot, and well marked. Going back to fill the hole. I think it might have been Yamera at that time, the 38. We'll check that again on the replay, but it was well read off the boot. Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, it was well read off the boot of the number 7, Isabel Surprise for Maludja. But the follow-up kick, though, not achieving all that much for Lindisha, as it is turned over back into Maludja's possession. Inside 50 it goes. Good battle between defender and attacker. Defence wins out yet again, as seems to be the case in many a women's game. We see it at AFLW quite a lot. The scores, on average, a lot lower than the men's, but creeping up as Croft. Oh, a little giveaway handball. Probably could have utilised the space around the left and kept going, but in any case, she'll get an opportunity to have another crack at it as Mystique Mallow, the number 11, looked inboard, almost went backwards, but decided to go forwards, coughed it up. Followed up with a good tackle, though, to put that little bit of pressure on Noonkanbah, but they're able to get away out the back here, though, and it's Zinarose Costain who takes a couple of nice bounces along the clubroom wing and sends a beautiful ball into 50. The mark is taken by Leona Skinner, the 28, who had 36 last week. And her ball travels for one behind only. Five 3:33 plays 1-1-7. 24 points the margin in favour of the Blues, who could extend this one out, though. They've got another mark inside 50. And the ball pops up, and it's taken. I reckon Kennedy's got this one here, little Emmy. The first goal of the game at this very end, the Fallon Road end. Doesn't think she's got the distance, so she pops this one up to about 15 from goal. Will she get a second look at this? No. The ball gets fed out towards Stacey Bedford, who kicked the second goal of the game. Puts it up towards the intended marking target, who was Ashley Wilgari. She's had a good game. Wilgari got the first clearance and has been quite a handful for the Maludja defence when she's pushed up forward. Can do it all. Might get another opportunity here. She does. Picks it up off her feet. Gets brought down in a tackle, though. Gang tackling by the Lions was better that time. Good work. I think it was Bianca Naguda in the 16 who helped out with that one. But all to no avail in the end, because the last laugh will go the way of Wilgari. Oh, that one there. Oh. Oh, what can you say about that? It's almost like the old Pink Panther cartoons, where you just see the old walking stick with the hook at the top. The old hook walking stick just come out from the side of the curtain and grab him by the neck, and just as he says, exit stage left or stage right. And that was kind of what happened with that. But anyway, it's a repel and a goal on the overlap. Was all part of the plan. So while Gary missed the easy one, They bounce back and get the slightly harder one. 6-4-40 plays 1-1-7. And I reckon Sharon McMulligan, the 10, charged through to get that. That's who we'll credit it with. As we await the restart. Maludger will continue to keep fighting on. There's no question about that. Never say die attitude, but what do you do to try and pass through this impenetrable Blues defence at the present time? Who were obviously very dirty with themselves for giving up that one goal in the first term, which tied the scores, courtesy of Adele Williams. They haven't looked like making that same error, internal error, since. As we get back into the middle again. Paddling away. In and under. Tough work going. I think we wanted to encourage into rather 15 for the Blues. Couldn't grab full possession in the end. Maludger do. And they send this one out towards the top of the square. Almost the mark taken. I'll keep scrapping hard and scrapping hard. Almost an opportunity there for Jakani James. She worked around that one. And it's coming through now is Isabella Surprise. Can she bring a nice surprise here for the Lions? No. Falls short. The umpire, I think, has picked out a free kick here. It will go Maludger's way. Okay. I reckon James is the one that's got it. Off the left. Puts it through, I reckon. Yep, she's got it. So there we go. That's what happens. Never say die. And eventually the results will come. So she now has 1 goal, 1 as well. Jakani James. 2-1-13 to 6-4-40. A couple of Blues players have 1 goal, 1 themselves. Stacey Bedford and Sharon Mulligan. And as the Blues come away through Miranda Skinner. Inside 50. Flat ball, but it's going to work out here, out the back, tumbling. Just let it go through, will you? No. Make sure of it in the end. That's what Ashley Wilgari does. So an almost goal for Leona Skinner. Turns into a guaranteed goal for Ashley Wilgari. Just remember, this is a team sport. So no matter who gets it, it gets credited all the same. 7-4-46 to 2-1-13. Reply for the Blues, and some nice work in and under by Miranda Skinner. Those toes don't lie of hers. The hips either. Of course, Shakira opening up proceedings at the FIFA World Cup, her 4th appearance as part of the opening ceremony. Over there in the United States, Canada and Mexico. Of course, Australia play Turkey tomorrow, 11:45 for a 12 o'clock start, Australian Western Standard Time. We won't worry about that for the time being. We're worrying about what's happening here at Fitzroy Crossing Ovals. Another opportunity comes for Wilgari, fast becoming the Blues' best player for mine. And what's she done here? I think she's missed. 1 goal, 2 to her name. And 5:47 plays 2-1-13. As we now see, again, another repeat shot on goal for the Blues. They're coming thick and fast here. Malaja starting to really run out of resistance now. But they get a reprieve, though, off the kick from Bedford, who doesn't find her target. Back into the middle it comes. But the Blues regain position again. Skinner receives the hands. Inside 50 it goes. When you players around this one, can Malaja break out of it again? The ball went up, but not far. And they eventually do win a reprieve with the holding the ball. That was Naguda, Bianca Naguda, the 16. Able to win that free kick nicely. This one's put high up into the air. It was Nina Sherrill that sent that one up into the night sky. It comes down and picked up off her feet nicely. Joy Dempsey. It was quite a way to get down. She's a tall girl. Great stretching. Must be doing DDP yoga like my good self. As I start to get back into it to regain lost fitness. As I approach 2 years shy of 40. Of course, the 38th birthday next Friday. As the larger now, you can hear the roar of the crowd, encouraging them and on as a little kid points out to the other kids saying, mate, you got to get off, quick, there's footy on. We can come on in a few minutes. The ball might come their way in a minute. We'll see what happens. As Nookumbar once again put the wall up, preventing another Malaja attempt at goal, even though they have got the one this quarter. They've got 2 for the game. As it comes out here towards right half forward region. Fair effort there from Mystique Mallow for the Lions. She had taken on 3 of them and did it quite well. The ball came back to her a second time, but she again fed it back into heavy traffic. She wants a third one. She's padding the stat sheet. Will she get a 4th one here? Maybe. No, they said you already had 3 goes at it and you kept putting us into trouble. You know, learn to kick it next time. Clear it away to make it a bit easier for us, Mystique. And eventually they do. Isabel Surprise came in to help. As now Malaja find a way forward. Bianca Nungambar, good work. Good kick inboard here to James, who's got one of their goals so far. Won't get a second here, though. She might have just snuck that in for a behind. Almost shaving the left-hand behind post along the way. Seven 5:47 plays 2-2-14. And good to see the graphics are in sync for this game. Fortunately, we had a lot of issues in the previous game getting them up to scratch, but we got them on parity in the end, though. Which that was won by Kajina over Bayulu. 14-5-89 to 6-4-40. There's Nookumbar now come away through Jamala Button. Handball back inboard, though, was a little bit costly there because they do lose possession for the time being. Malaja through Adele Williams, who has got one of their other goals. Although it might actually be Skinner has got both. James has got both. We'll double check that. I do have Williams down as that other goal scorer in the first quarter, but I will go back and make certain of that, if that is the case or not. As the ball continues to ping-pong around either way here. In and around the centre half forward region for Nookumbar. Eventually, though, Malaja are rewarded with a free kick. Just over 2 minutes left in this third term. The 3-point lead to the Blues. They regain possession once again. Have they got an opening towards the goals? No, the door slams shut. But will they force it back open again? They're about to. Found another set of keys. That worked this time. Didn't even need to bust the glass. Inside it goes. Not quite. Good work from Naguda to cut that one off. Initially was brought forward by Jamala Button, and sadly, though, she wasn't able to get away and release the footy in time. Caught by Sharon Mulligan, who has a goal to her name tonight. Goal 1 to be exact. Ends up not having the shot, pass it towards the pocket, as this one's kicked away in danger, I think the umpire says. So it will come back into the hands of arguably the best on ground today, Ashley Woolgary. And she got a big roost in her here. It's on its way. Kennedy takes the mark. Well led up by Amy Kennedy. And she's going to waste no time going back and sending this one home. Oh, maybe she just rushed it a little bit, but it won't matter. It'll be a goal assist anyway, off hands goal on the goal line. All part of the plan. Was I to doubt Amy Kennedy? I never doubt Amy Kennedy. Love the way she goes about her footy. So that was excellent work on the goal line there by Leona Skinner to keep the ball alive as it fell shallow. Could have easily been forgiven for thinking it was just going to sail over the top and the Maludja defence would clear away quite easily. But no, she kept that one nice and alive. I reckon Janika Skeen was the one who was there ready to take it and put it through for her second. So we'll give the goal to Skeen, but again, great team play all around. Bulgari first to find Kennedy on the lead. And then Kennedy, even though it may have looked like it was a little shank off the boot for just rushing it a little bit and not getting fully set up. No, she knew what she was doing. And in the end, it was well trapped by Leona Skinner, who then got the quick hands, quick thinking as well into Janika Skeen, and she finished it off nicely. So three-quarter time, 8-5-53 to 2-2-14. Final break, and we will return for the final 15 minutes of our coverage here on Filming Footy. CKFBL Round 2, Noonkanbah 53, Maludja 14.
all good. No, I got water. It's all good. Still would have been good. Next time. Yeah, still would be awesome.
I know it was like standing in the
Yeah, no. You can't move too much because this microphone picks up everything. Yeah, it's on break at the moment, but yeah, every little.
Yeah, we were talking about getting that trailer that they've got. He's got not the truck, but he's got a trailer there you can tow, which is very simple.
Trailer would be way better. All these cords and stuff worry me.
Yeah.
And then like kids have been running past and stuff.
Yeah.
I reckon a trailer would be great.
We put the first one in and goes, he wanted 45 grand. The thing's worth 90 or something. But he originally said he was going to bring it up here anyway.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, maybe we can find 35 to help contribute to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, yes, maybe it'll be awesome.
Okay.
Because to me, it'd be awesome to get up even things like children. We've got that stage truck that we bought.
Yeah.
Which is for live bands and that kind of stuff. So this is more specifically to do that.
Okay.
I reckon that's what I was saying. Nice! And that was
Final quarter back up and running here between Noonkanbah and Maludja in the final term. And, well, I was going to say, yeah, if we weren't already being full-on attacked by these little gremlins and rats and whatever in and amongst things, we lost the sound effects, but we've got them back now. Chris Tate, beautifully done by you. Brandon Woolhouse, equally beautifully done by you, my friend. And we are back up and running. We can hear the crowd in the background. We can see the shot on goal affected. And I reckon a post got in the way there. So it was Noonkanbah that got the ball forward. I wonder whether or not it might have been possibly Celeste Costain. Missing Angelica tonight. Unfortunately, haven't seen her running around. So first score going the way of Noonkanbah, probably not surprisingly. That clearance and shot on goal. And they get a secondary opportunity here and miss it again. In the opening few seconds. Straight away they go to 8-7-55. Maludja 2-2-14. So we're not going to get the close, thrilling finish like we did in last year's grand final, or even in the Budjiman pre-season carnival tonight, unfortunately. Let's just get on the replay that last shot on goal from Jacola Skinner. She's been extremely effective tonight. Tough to give out the pair of Archies for this game. Well, I've still got Ashley Woolgari just ahead. Emmy Kennedy is potentially there too, certainly earlier on. But Janika Skeen with a couple of goals as well. Looking the goods too. As the Lions now force their way forward, but again, that defence of the Blues standing up tall. Doing it nicely once more as they come through the middle. Towards centre half forward. Don't argue attempts around from the wily number 7 there, and Isabella surprised, probably even surprised herself that she was able to beat everybody too. She had at least 3 to contend with and got away with it as well. Nice work, Isabella. Just like Antonio and Mickey. Especially Antonio, he was certainly a shining light in the Bulldogs' loss earlier today. So a 0-2 start for the reigning premiers in the men's, unfortunately, but the Wookenbar Blues will be a 2-0 start in the women's so far as galloping away towards goals. Narada Croft got the bounce in, but then her kick was affected. Stayed inside the field of play, though. She might get another look at this one. She's got some support in the forward pocket. Nicely done by Henrietta Ninjella in the 21. Still stays alive. Here is James. She's got one. She won't get a second. Kick smothered. So we got excited for a minute there, Lionesses. But not to be again. And that has been the mantra of the Blues. Deny, deny, deny. With a lead of 41 points, 3.5 minutes in this final term as the scrap continues on at centre half forward. Not quite picking it up there was Mystique Mallow for Malaja. Might have some support at the back here. Shiny Cox the 15, paddling it to some sort of advantage. Couldn't quite get all of it. They do force it forward in, and Jella once more involved, and a target is found, and it's Tanisha Oscar. We'll see if she's got the leg in her. And she takes her time, collects her breath. Stuttering approach, short ball, nearly, but not quite. Falls to the top of the square. And you'd think away come the Blues. Good bump there from Jamelia Bent. Got into the side of her opponent. The umpire had a full look at that one and did not blow the whistle. That is good, hard, tough football from Jamelia Bent, our best on last week in the win against the Bailey Bulldogs. Services haven't been as much required tonight, but still ready for any task asked of her as the Lions might be able to fight through for a goal here. Not quite. Ninjella with the shot just off to the left. But I commend them for continuing to present themselves at every contest here. Right to the death. A bit like Bayulu in the men's earlier, even though the scoreboard had them 49 points in arrears by the final siren. They continue to fight also, and I think they've actually paid the goal. It was originally given a behind, but I reckon that the field umpire has overruled that and said, yep, it's good, unless the goal umpire was just deciding to fool me and say, I can't be stuffed putting the 2 fingers, but I'll get 2 flags for you anyway. How about that? You probably just put your hand up saying, hey, this is mine, I'll call this. So 3-2-20 plays, 8-7-55. So the goal was kicked there by Ninjella, hugging the left-hand goal post extremely tightly, so much so it could almost do a Lee Matthews and break. And it stays upright here. We've got the best post in the business at Fitzroy Crossing Oval. Don't you worry about that. Excellent resources being tipped into this phenomenal competition to keep it going, as it has been since 1991. Still going strong. Yours truly, Louisville's Amy, loving to be a little part of it. Loving the opportunity here for filming footy as ball continues to get fought over. Almost in discussion style as opposed to more physical, touchy-feely at centre-half forward for Nunkenbar. The little girls almost looking around and saying, yours, yours, yours. All right, I'll take it. And eventually it is taken by Bedford. And she finds a target and she says, all right, enough of that scrapping. Let's get something going. And she's done exactly that. And the mark has been taken by Anastasia Pye. He leans back. And back too far, one behind. Nearly 7 minutes gone in this final quarter. Like I put that nearly in between the number 6 and the number 7. I don't want to start that again. You know. 8856, brother. That I love. Shout out to the great Rex Hunt. Also in his halcyon days of 3AW football here on the Melbourne side of Australia. Some of the best call teams around back in the 90s that 3AW presented when he was in charge. Of course, sister station 6PR in Perth. And the greater WA surrounds as the ball is going to be tossed back in off a repeat entry here for Nunkambar. And they got a sniff of a goal on this occasion. It was brought in originally by Jagika Skeen. I reckon a goal has been affected here. Could it have been Bedford again for a second? Round the body work from directly in front. As we see the ball go back into the middle. Either way, it's a goal. 9-8-62 to 3-2-20. Just await action replay on my end. I reckon she did wait around the back very, very nicely and put it through for her second. So she joins Janika Skeen as Stacey Bedford with a couple of majors. Second goal of the game, which was merely seconds away from the quarter-time siren, which broke the deadlock of goals at least. They were a couple of points ahead at that stage, the Blues, but now they are 42. Sorry, if you don't mind. Yes, 42, I was right. So 9-8-62 to 3-2-20. Here they come again. Miranda Skinner sends them deep to centre half forward, shallow inside 50, but they might go a bit deeper than that. They've got 3 out the back here. It was a little fickle to pick up off the feet of Celeste Costain that time, but she somehow made that work in towards Skeen. And I wonder if that was again Bedford towards the feet of it. 2 to beat there was Will Gary. Couldn't quite beat them both. Nearly did. And the Lions should be able to come away with this one through right half back, and they do. Not bad work there from Millie Banjo to force that one towards centre wing. Just eluding Benita Chanel, though. As the whistle is on play. Just watching that last replay. It was Bedford that had that last shot again, or at least set it up towards where Will Gary was. She is quite a live wire at ground level up forward is Stacey Bedford, no question about it. So many options to run through there, do the Blues. And they're going to take some beating to vie for the 2026 Premiership. Of course, defending their 2025 title. And their challenges for that title last year, Malaja, well off the pace tonight. Not through lack of trying, though. There's no question about that. Certainly, scoreboard-wise, not looking like it, even though they did defeat Kajina on forfeit last week. And that could be a reason why, too. Haven't got that match fitness in their legs from last week, which Youngora and Nukumbar do with that solid win over Bayulu. So sadly, Kajina unable to put a team together last week and having to concede on forfeit to Malaja. So this is the top of the table clash. It's Nukumbar in a world of their own at the moment. And it's Jazara Jolgari, the 24 for Malaja, sends this one forward. Good hard contest. Around about 40 from goal, close to the boundary line. I reckon the boundary line will have a piece of this. Boundary umpire will come over. As it finds its way back inside. From the restart here. Right deep into the darkness of that pocket towards the Fallon Road end on the opposite side, on the Forest Road side of Fitzroy Crossing. We'll see how the beautiful lights here at Fitzroy Crossing Oval. We don't get the most shine in that particular area. Certainly have lit up nicely everywhere else, though, which is a great sight to see. Certainly needed it today with the 1 hour delay that we've had in our program. As no delay here with the ball moving forward from Zenarose Costain in towards Celeste Costain. It's a Costain party. It's a Costain celebration. Unfortunately, not from a scoreboard point of view with that last attempt as it rolls out of bounds in the right forward pocket. So we wait the throw in. Looks like Gary will have a crack at the ruck here. We'll love to see her grab it and have a go at it. Goal, that is. She did have a grab at it. Couldn't quite get a look at the goals, though. Elijah did well to defend that one out, but only as far here as Bedford. Looked like she was going to set something up for herself. In the end, she set up for Will Gary for her second. I think that might just be enough for Will Gary to win the Archie's songs for this game. Started off well in the middle and has been more than just a handful up forward too. Helping others get goals and now getting a couple herself in this second half. 2 goals, 2 overall for her. 10-8-68 to 3-2-20. Just over 2 minutes left in this match and in our broadcast of all, well, the 2 of the 5 matches. We had the final 2 of the program today. So the restart here. But get it out of defence, but only as far there as I reckon was Oscar. Was able to rebound for, no, sorry, my apologies. It wasn't, it was TJ, it was Casey Jingle. TJ getting the rebound. She was busy earlier on, has quietened off since because Nookumba were able to work out her position and get the ball over her head most of the time going forward as they went a free kick at left half forward. Off to the races goes Skeen, caught. Tried to brush off the tackler, but didn't have enough hands to do so. She needed to be like an octopus. She needed 6 more. Only had the 2, and they were both busy handling the footy. So free kick to the Lions. Surprise comes away. Into the middle it goes. Overrunning it was Joel Gary. Nookumba back in possession. High ball inside. Oh, it eludes Celeste Costain there, I reckon it was, or it may well have been Anastasia Pye. Either or, take your pick. Both are equally as talented as each other, as this one now bobs up and down like a late great Dennis Committee cork in the ocean. Mulligan gets it inside 50, off hands. Here goes Celeste, around the body, misses, out of bounds. So less than 30 seconds to go. One last opportunity for the Blues to sweeten the deal further and continue to make it nigh on impossible for their other challengers in this competition as the siren sounds to end a faultless display by Nookumba, challenged early by Malaja. And in general play, the Lions did send the ball inside 50 often enough to score, but that defence is of the finest ilk. And it proved yet again why today, conceding just 3 goals, 2, while putting on 10 goals, 8 themselves. 10-8-68 to 3-2-20, the final score. Goal kickers for the winners, Janika Skeen with 2, Stacey Bedford with 2, and our best on ground, we're going to call it now, Ashley Wilgary with 2. Singles 2, one of my favourites, Emmy Kennedy, Landisha Yamero, Sharon Mulligan, and also Celeste Costain. While for the Lions, the Lionesses, Adele Williams, Jakari James, who was really good, though, with the lack of opportunities that came deep. Whenever they were able to get deep, she was involved with pretty much every passage, and she certainly could hold her head up high for the Lions today. And also Henrietta Ninjella with the 3rd goal for Malaja in that final term. So that's a wrap on round 2. Earlier on, we saw Kajina Cats do a number on Bayulu by 49 points. That was our other game for broadcast earlier on. And we were able to get a result for one of the three games that we didn't cover. That was the River Roos up against the Maludja Lions. And while the Roos gave Kajina a hiding in round one, it was the other way this time. They were the ones copping the hiding, copping the beating. And Maludja did a big number on them to go 2-0 in season 2026. 19-13, 127 to 3-6-24. And it was quite the even spread of goals right throughout for Maludja in each quarter. 4 in the first, 5 in the second, 5 in the third, 5 in the last as well. They conceded 2 in the first quarter, so fair play for River Roos in that one to make it a fair contest. But then after that, just conceding the 1 in the second and no further goals conceded after half-time for Maludja. So fantastic there. Unfortunately, I don't have on me the result of the other men's game, which was Wankajunga and Nookambah, because that's coming up next. So that's it. So that was the earlier game today. River Roos and Maludja Lions in the men. Then we jumped, then the other women's game on hand. That's the other one, unfortunately, I don't have, which was between Baulu and Kajina. So fingers crossed Kajina were able to put a side together after they unfortunately had to forfeit last week against Maludja. And then the two games that we have jumped on for you here on Filming Footy were won by the Kajina men over the Baulu Bulldogs by 49 points. Well led by Irvin Skinner with 3 second-half goals. And just now, the Ngora Nookambah Blues women conquering the Maludja Lionesses by a fair bit more than what they did in last year's grand final, which they got with the last goal of the game, with just seconds to spare, pinching it from the death. Able to win by a very comfortable 48 points this time, 10-8-68 to 3-2-20. So thank you very much for being a part of the coverage here on Filming Footy. One more time, we will thank our sponsors before we'll do the official sign-off. First of all, for the CKFPL, naming rights sponsor Lidl, and also Mara Warrawara, Gundua, and the WA Department of Communities, while Filming Footy is proudly brought to you by Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Wild Gravel, Ullum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, and also Premium Grains. This is Lou Bulzomi. Farewelling everybody at Fitzroy Crossing Oval. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us through the trenches, through the wars of all the technical difficulties. Big shout out to the Filming Footy team as well. Brandon Woolhouse there behind the scenes in the tech house, and also behind the camera helping out with Wanky Radio, Chris Tate, and a huge shout out to the Community Development Manager, the Community Development Officer, I should say, at the CKFBL, Callan Hatchman too, for providing the team sheets when he could, in and amongst all the other duties that he had throughout the day, including umpiring as well. I commend each and every one of you. Good night. Take care.
The relationship with Great Southern Fuels started with my father 50 years ago, delivering fuel in drums back in the day, which has progressed into large tanks now. They've been very reliable and efficient on time with service.
We run a mixed farming operation here on Chapman Valley, just north of Geraldton, managing about 5,500 hectares. We've been with what is now Great Southern Fuels for in excess of 20 years. There's always challenges and situations that catch you out, and they've been really good at accommodating that for us.
We've been with Great Southern for 28 years now. Look, they've given us exceptional service and the price competitive. So it's wonderful.
They're a great company to work for. They're a family-owned business. They will support you and whatever is required.
I've got Alan's phone number, I've got Steve's phone number, and I know if I ring it, I'll get an answer, which is really cool.
The relationship's great, and the service is second to none. So I ring up, and it doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, or whenever I ring up, I'll have fuel. So we've never been held up or had a problem with them. So my theory is that's what I'm about. It's about service and the relationship, and it's been fantastic.
It's very important to maintain long-term customers' loyalty and give back what you can when you can.
Great Southern Fuels is one of the few companies that I've been involved with that gives so much back to the local community. We support so many different organisations and country, sporting clubs, field days, farming organisations.
We endeavour to give back. The The community looked after us by dealing with us, and we just gave it back in what we could do. Footy club needs a hand, well, it's because they need a hand that you give it to, not the other way around.
When you look at how they conduct themselves in the community, they've been a great supporter of the Livestock Transporters Association. Just incredible what they do.
They do a lot for the community, which is good. And not only Lake Race either, you know, it's right through where all these outlets are all over the state. You know, he's been excellent with that.
We tend to sponsor major events, the Great Southern Football Carnival, Colt Carnival.
Across the board, I think sponsorships are a very important part of any community. I grew up in Lake Grace and footy was my life down there for a long time. Great Southern sponsored Lake Grace back then, and along with many other footy clubs and hockey clubs and tennis clubs. And we might not always be making a big deal out of it, but the people that get sponsored, they understand and they relate to it.
They do a lot for the town, so yeah, I can't fault them. You know, they've been brilliant.
Great Southern Fuels have got strong values, and that shows in what they do. You know, they walk the talk and they do what they do.
You deal with people that are there and care about your business, and these people have been absolutely wonderful.
I'm very proud of what Mum and Dad have achieved in their life and how they've structured the business, and it's all structured around our customers and looking after people and being in the right areas where we need to sell the fuel and have the support there and sponsorship, being part of the community, even though we're not in that community, but our workers are there and that's part of us.